Hello everyone. Have you heard about offshore fish farming? Do you know what aquaculture is? And what is the future growth of aquaculture? Think statistics. Provide some idea of how uncertain we are about our knowledge. Knowledge is incredibly important to process information to make informed decisions. Aquaculture is the farming of aquatic organisms, including fish, molluscs, crustaceans, and aquatic plants. Aquaculture production specifically refers to output from aquaculture activities, which are designated for final harvest for consumption. Aquaculture production sector is big and growing very rapidly. Demand for seafood is soaring, but oceans are giving up all they can. Can we farm fish in more sustainable ways? Aquaculture has been the fastest growing food sector in the world for decades, and people now eat more farmed fish than wild fish. Farmed fish, if raised sustainably, can help feed the world, according to a report by the World Fish Center, a private group that advocates sustainable fishing. There are different methods of aquaculture, including pond culture, recirculating aquaculture systems, and open ocean farming. The choice of method depends on the type of aquatic species being farmed, the available resources, and the desired outcome. The major types of aquaculture products include fish, crustaceans, molluscs, and seaweeds. The most commonly farmed fish species include carp, tilapia, salmon, and catfish. Salmon are farmed in many countries around the world, creating opportunities for international collaboration to improve sustainable techniques while expanding seafood accessibility. The Asia region is the largest market for aquaculture. 91% of farmed fish come from Asia. China is the largest producer of farmed fish and seafood in the world, China alone accounting for more than 61% of that production. In 2018, China produced more than 66 million tons seafood, followed by India, Indonesia, and Vietnam. Indonesia's rise to become the world's third largest producer of farmed seafood. The market is driven by increasing demand for seafood, particularly in China and Southeast Asia. In European aquaculture, Norway is the largest producer of farmed salmon in the world. The North American, Middle East and Africa aquaculture market are relatively small compared to other regions, but are growing due to increasing demand for sustainable and traceable seafood products and government support for aquaculture development. Egypt is the largest producer of farmed fish in Africa. In the United States, which currently imports 84% of its seafood and produces less than 2% of the world's cultivated fish, the Obama administration has proposed new guidelines that would make it easier to set up fish farms in federal waters. U.S. officials say expanding domestic aquaculture production will reduce pressure on wild ocean catch and cut the nation's seafood imports. The traditional fishing methods is leading to overfishing and extinction of wild fish stocks. This growth in aquaculture has played an important role in increasing global seafood production without sacrificing fish stocks. This allows us to maintain sustainable fishing levels that do not deplete wild fish populations. Aquaculture offers a sustainable alternative, consistent and controllable seafood supply, enabling controlled breeding, rearing, and harvesting of aquatic organisms. Production has continued to grow, while the output of wild fisheries has slowed or even plateaued. Aquaculture is becoming an essential component of food security strategies in case of environmental challenges. Aquaculture. When comparing the impact on climate change, land use and energy demand, aquaculture fared much better ecologically than livestock. Consider that it takes 61 kilograms of grain to produce 1 kilogram of beef protein, while the ratio for fish protein is only 13:1. Fish farming and shellfish production usually spew far less greenhouse gas emissions than production of beef and other animal protein, but aquaculture can still cause serious environmental problems. Mangroves, which protect the coast and act as nurseries for a host of aquatic species, were ripped out. What is the new technology in aquaculture? Fish farms and the untreated waste polluted watersheds. Sustainable practices, such as recirculating aquaculture systems, are minimizing environmental impact by recycling water and reducing waste. Waste from farms can degrade and pollute nearby ecosystems. Massive fish die-offs shook local economies. Fish farming operations are vulnerable to disease outbreaks due to the high density of fish in a confined space. Diseases can quickly sweep through the tightly packed fish. Gathering the feed for the animals can cause distant environmental problems. The spread of diseases to wild fish populations are a major concern for the industry. Managing disease outbreaks requires effective preventive measures. Faced with stinging criticism and tighter regulations, and eager to meet demand, fish farmers are trying new ways to boost production and minimize harm. Marine fish farming sector worked closely to identify consumer perception, fish welfare and environmental sustainability, and to suggest innovative marketing strategies to gain confidence in culture and contribute to food security and safety. Vaccines and diagnostics were developed and validated in commercial environments associated with the risk of fish diseases, preventive and control strategies, and good husbandry. Highly qualified scientists trained farmers in some countries that are designed to reduce the impact of fish farming and expand production. They learn how to better prevent and treat disease, new feeding techniques, better pond construction, and proper fish farm waste disposal. Apply new knowledge in real farming conditions to substantially improve performance measured through key performance indicators. Training courses tailored to aquaculture professionals to transfer new knowledge in genetics, hatchery quality, health management, feeding strategies, and the key performance indicators benchmarking system. The advancements in genetic research, selective breeding programs, are becoming more sophisticated, allowing for the development of species with specific desired traits, such as faster growth, disease resistance, and adaptability to different environmental conditions. And so when we make these decisions on what we eat and how we manage our environment and the resources we use to produce our food, fish are an important part of that equation. Because they are in the animal source food area, one of the groups that is particularly attractive for developing further. Sustainable aquaculture to help the development of the aquaculture sector that ensures the supply of nutritious, healthy and tasty food with a low environmental and climate footprint that becomes a global reference for sustainability and quality. The industry has had to grow. Demand for seafood is soaring and will continue to rise, but the oceans are giving up all they can. We see that global fish catch has been relatively flat since 1990. We can't get any more out of the oceans. Researchers have carried out studies to see what impact trawling has on wildlife. The impact of trawling really depends on the 4 types of method and gear that's used. They are otter trawling, beam trawling, towed dregs, and hydraulic dredging. Organisms are removed or killed by a single pass of a trawl over the seabed. What we see clearly is that the deeper the trawl digs into the sediment, the more biota we kill. The most damaging method is hydraulic dredging. It digs deep into the sediment at 16 centimeters, and 41% of organisms are destroyed as a result. Once this area has been affected by trawling, how long does it take for its biodiversity to recover? This suggests the reduction in catch has been driven by a decline in the availability of bottom-living fish rather than changes in fishing effort. There are still things we can do to limit its impacts. Fish farming, also known as aquaculture, has boomed over the last 50 years. Production has increased more than 50-fold. In fact, we now produce more seafood from aquaculture than we do from wild catch. The number of sustainable aquaculture farms continues to increase to meet the global demands of our growing population. Aquaculture has therefore been an ingenious solution. Rather than relying on wild fish, we can produce our own. The rise in population and income levels, as well as the growing awareness of the health benefits of seafood, are expected to drive the demand for aquaculture products. The market is also driven by the increasing adoption of sustainable and environmentally friendly practices, such as organic aquaculture and probiotics and vaccines to reduce disease outbreaks. The aquaculture market faces competition from wild capture fisheries, which can impact the demand and pricing of aquaculture products. Seafood is great for your health. It contains nutrients that are linked to a multitude of benefits, including a reduced risk of coronary heart disease. Shellfish and fish, particularly salmon, tuna, and trout, are also a source of omega-3 fatty acids, which promote heart and brain health. Reliable sources of omega-3s are important because our bodies are unable to produce them, and they must be obtained through food. As aquaculture continues to expand seafood production, more people can include seafood in their diets, improving nutrition and well-being. Is the use of fish meal and fish oil in aquaculture diets sustainable? Opponents of fish meal and fish oil-based diets for aquaculture argue that the practice of feeding fish to fish is inefficient and wasteful, that it can take more than 6 kilograms of wild fish to produce 1 kilogram of farmed fish. There are many reasons why fish meal and fish oil are favored in the diet of farmed animals, which are very high in protein, including the high quality and concentration of essential nutrients, especially of well-balanced amino acids, essential marine oils, omega-3 fatty acids, a good source of calcium, phosphorus, other minerals, and energy content, makes fish meal an indispensable ingredient in diets of most aquaculture species and many land farm animals. Total protein in fish meal can be higher than 70%. Fish meal and fish oil have been reported to offer major benefits to animal health, including improved immunity against disease, higher survival and growth, and reduced incidences of deformities. Fish meal and fish oil are highly digestible, which leads to increased growth and less wastage of food. Lack of these essential nutrients in the diet can affect negatively both fish health and the quality of products. Fish meal and fish oil consumption by aquaculture species will have to be reduced, and alternative sources of essential marine oils and proteins will have to be found. Acceptable and economic alternative means of supplying the nutritional requirements of farmed species must be found, or further expansion of intensive aquaculture production, particularly of carnivorous species, will be constrained. But the use of wild fish as feed to produce aquaculture's harvest can have wide-ranging environmental impacts. Currently, carnivorous fish such as salmon and tuna, they eat fish meal and fish oil on diets, which are mostly derived from wild fish stocks. Every year, millions of tons of wild fish, like sardines and anchovies, are caught and processed into fish meal and fish oil to feed farm-raised species. Using wild-caught fish to feed farmed fish contributes to the overfishing pressure on wild fish populations. But farmers have options that can reduce the reliance on wild-caught feed. Not all fish are carnivores. Some, like catfish and tilapia, can be raised on diets with very little or no fish meal or fish oil. By farming species that do not require significant amounts of animal protein or oil in their feed, aquaculture can reduce its reliance on wild fisheries. In some industries, no supplemental feed is required. Fish and shrimp raised in extensive aquaculture systems, and shellfish like mussels and oysters feed by filtering plankton and other naturally produced organisms out of the water. There is cause for optimism that solutions will be found for these and other issues. In part, this belief arises from improvements already seen. The innovations that can help ensure non-fish products are available for food. The United Nations maintains sustainable aquaculture to increase our fresh seafood supply can boost the ecosystem and the economy that serve as a framework for international cooperation to help people and the planet thrive. Aquaculture can improve food security and nutrition by increasing the amount of seafood available for people to eat. If done correctly, aquaculture increases food production, boosts economic growth in coastal and rural areas, and can help keep waterways clean. Aquaculture creates year-round jobs, supports resilient working waterfronts and coastal communities, and can provide sustainable economic growth. Across the United States, aquaculture production is valued at $1.5 billion. Aquaculture also drives employment in other areas of industry, such as seafood processing and feed and equipment manufacturing. Promote inclusive and sustainable economic growth, employment, and decent work for all. As more fish ponds are revitalized, the supply of local seafood, jobs, and other revenue streams can also grow. The fish ponds promote economic growth, productive employment, and sustainable resource management. Sustainable Aquaculture Advances Technology. An aquapod cage, a giant spherical free-range fish farm, floats offshore. This aquapod cage is an example of an innovative design that allows farmers to grow fish in the open ocean, away from crowded coastlines. Sustainable aquaculture farming techniques focus on food production and environmental stewardship. Advanced technology, such as the Free Ocean Reports mapping and planning tool, which analyzes ocean neighborhoods. It provides critical insights to make informed decisions that expand sustainable aquaculture opportunities, while also minimizing potential environmental impacts. It also provides detailed information about habitats and species, current industries in the area, and potential hazards to aquaculture, such as undersea cables or shipwrecks. The rise of AI in aquaculture. Artificial intelligence, AI, techniques can be applied to optimize fish growth in aquaculture systems. One type of AI in aquaculture is machine learning, which involves training algorithms to analyze large sets of data and make decisions based on patterns. The AI can quickly and reliably deliver data that turns the skills and knowledge possessed by only the most seasoned sailors and fishmongers. AI can monitor total catches in real time by size, species, and weight, and generate detailed data that can be used for scientific purposes, stock estimates, research, and fisheries policy. Artificial vision allows computers and systems to extract important data from videos or digital images. Actions can be taken and processes can be executed. Automatic recognition methods has been used to recognize fish, monitoring, and extract information that allows proper management, effective feeding, and disease prevention. The integration of intelligent systems with applications in aquaculture that include water recirculation, biological flocculation technology, automation, and continuous monitoring that guarantees sustainable management of water and sanitation transcends a high percentage of growth and development of the fish. One aquaculture system that controls and collects data in real time was developed in Taiwan to solve the problems faced by the aquaculture sector in that country. Overall, aquaculture is an important solution to meet growing demand for seafood. The tool to fill in the gap of seafood supply. Overfishing can impact entire ecosystems. It can change the size of fish remaining. It creates an imbalance that can erode the food web and lead to a loss of other important marine life, as well as how they reproduce and the speed at which they mature. If we want more fish, we're going to have to produce our own. The oceans of the earth can exist without us. If we humans become extinct, they won't even notice we're gone. A few decades ago, aquaculture's benefits were questionable. Through aquaculture growth, consumers from low to high-income nations have benefited from year-round availability and access to aquatic foods. If you have specific perspective, thoughts, and relevant experience around aquaculture and related topics, then you are welcome to share and discuss your story with others. Please feel free to leave your response in the comments section below. I appreciate your time and energy watching this video. Thank you for watching.
Goodbye.
And see you